afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our weekly webinar series. We've got a great interview planned with Margaret today. She's an ABS business owner, been doing it for a little while, and is going to share with you what's working for her in her business, some exciting news stories about some new clients that she recently landed. So we're going to be interviewing her here in just a moment. So thank you for joining us. We had a bunch of people sign up for this thing. I think we had 86 registered for this webinar last time I checked. So pretty cool, pretty cool. A lot of interest in starting a new business. There's a lot of people that are really tired of the status quo, tired of working for other people, ready to kind of make their own hours and determine their own wages and be their own boss. And that's exactly what we do. We can help people, regardless of their background or experience. We can help people get into this business and be successful with our help. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just make sure I'm being heard. Let me click on this slide. Just want to make sure you can hear me loud and clear. If you can say hello in the chat window. There's actually a Q&A box. Sorry, not a chat box, but a little Q&A box. If I'm coming through loud and clear, say hello. Maybe let me know where you're from, and then we can just kind of make sure all that is working. And where did my, sorry, I'm new at this. All right, Q&A, there we go. Rochelle says, good afternoon, everyone. Brian, hello, Brian from Michigan. Hello, Michael, hello, RD. Sounds like I'm coming through loud and clear. Robert says it's working. All right, great. Thank you all for typing that in there. I appreciate that. As a reminder, of course, that's the same place where you will be able to type in any questions at all. If you have any questions for myself about the business, if you have any questions about Margaret's business, feel free to type those in and we'll read them off as we go here. So let me just do a quick little intro. I didn't really introduce myself. I am Adam Phillips. I am the CEO of American Business Systems. And again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. American Business Systems is a 30-year-old company. That's right. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been involved probably about half of those 30 years. This is a family business that my parents founded here in the Dallas, Texas area in 1994. We've been doing it for a long, long time, and I hope to carry this thing into the future as far as we can take it. And the future is bright, as you will see in talking with Margaret today. A little bit about me. I'm an author. I've written a few books on revenue cycle management, and this is my recent book that I co-wrote with our partner, Dr. Vicki Rackner. This is one of several marketing tools that we have created for you to use as you're building your medical billing revenue cycle business. So these books are designed to educate doctors on different ways to save money, different ways to improve their revenue cycle, because there's a whole cycle involved in them, getting paid. And if one little aspect of that cycle is not being done correctly, that could really affect their bottom line. So these books are excellent marketing tools for you to use. It really does educate them at the same time. It's building your credibility in the eyes of the doctors. And so it's really, really great marketing tool. I also founded an organization called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. And the reason why we did this is so that you have an official credential. When you finish our training, you receive a certificate from MIRMA, and it certifies that you have completed a program, you know what you're doing, and you're ready to launch your business and get clients and get everything going. So this lets people know that you know what you're doing, and that's why we did that. I'm also a member of the editorial board on Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. My recent article that just came out last month is the subject is, will advancements in AI take over my job as a medical biller or coder? If you want a copy of that, I can send you that article if you'd like to check it out. If anybody was on our webinar last week, I did an interview with Eric Auger. He interviewed me about this topic, and it was a great interview. We had a lot of really good discussion, a lot of good comments from folks on that. So you can go check that out if you'd like to learn more. Again, reminder, just type your questions in as we go, and we will be happy to read off these questions to Margaret or myself, and we'll get going. So what I'd like to do, without further ado, is bring Margaret on. If she can hear me, just turn on your camera there, and we will get things going. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for joining us today, Margaret. Now we interviewed you quite a while ago. Did you say it was about a year ago, I think?
No, I think it was within my first year of starting.
Your
So,
first year. Okay. So let's go ahead and just jump right in and tell us, when did you get started, and what was your business background, and why medical billing and all that good stuff.
okay, so when sometimes I speak with licensees who will call me and are doing their due diligence, and that's always the first question I get, and I always, time flies, and you think, wow, was it 5 years ago? So somewhere, but I know when I started, I had to put this on the back burner. I had several things going on, daughters getting married and having babies, and so I kind of put it on the back burner, and then I picked it up, and then COVID hit. So I want to say somewhere around 2017. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date.
Okay. Wow. That's been a while. So what were you doing before that, and how did you get involved with working with ABS?
So before that, my husband and I have a company. We moved here from Hawaii, and he has his company, and I'm an accountant. So I was doing books for that in between having children and raising them. So we had our own family business going on too. And then I met a gal in Colorado at an event who was telling me she was a medical biller and that she had a house in Fiji. And I remember thinking I wanted a house in Fiji. And so
Yeah.
that's what started this ball rolling. And that's when I started looking online and pursuing that path. And
So you
I stumbled upon you guys.
Yeah, so you were just doing accounting before that. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. We have a lot of people in the accounting world that do end up joining ABS because a lot of them, they already have medical clients. I don't know if that was your case or not, but you didn't have any medical clients at
No,
all? No.
no.
So yeah, so some of them do. They're working with doctors doing their books and things, and it just kind of makes sense. But also, just the fact that you're good with numbers and you're good with attention to detail, and that's really kind of one of the key things to make sure that you're able to make this work.
Sure.
uh, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your first client, and how long, if you can remember, like how long did it take you to get that first client? What was the marketing methods that seemed to work for that?
Um, sure. So, like I said, I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. And then I started this business with my daughter, and she was the one having the baby. And
Hmm.
so, like I said, we put things on hold for a little bit. But then after going to training, we learned all these different marketing paths that you could take. And I kind of settled on creating just a flyer, a postcard flyer that I was opening a new office in their neighborhood, sent it out to everybody within, not, my daughter was living in California at the time, where I was and where she was. And my first hit, somebody replied with a practice here in Albuquerque who called and was looking for a deal. And I thought it was just her and one other clinician, and she had 20. So that was a great start.
What specialty was it, did you say?
This was, she's a clinical social worker, so it was mental health.
Mental health. Okay, so wow. So you got a lead from sending out postcards. How big was your mail out? How many did you send out? Was it
I would say probably 50 here and 50 in California.
50 postcards here
Yes,
and
uh,
50 postcards,
in California,
and you
and
got a response?
by 29 Palms, between 29 Palms and Palm Springs. Yeah.
And you got a response.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, because in my experience, it takes a lot more postcards to get a reply. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You showed me that postcard. Can you show
Yeah.
can you show us
Oh,
that postcard?
it's just, if you can see there, it was just, like a ribbon cutting. I'm opening my office. And then on the back, it just lists the services that I provide, from billing, coding, iDocs, AutoGuard, Compliancy Guard. Um, I will tell you though, while I have had one call for billing, I also had a call for coding. And I don't want if I'm not going to get the billing, I'm not interested in doing their coding, so
Interesting.
just,
Yeah. So I mean, even way back when you just got started, you would have turned down the coding business, or because
Well,
we have because we could you could subcontract that, with us.
sure, absolutely. I know, yeah, and I didn't. I wanted really to move in this direction first, and then eventually, if things, I might consider it now, but especially if I was subcontracting it out.
Yeah, well, for those of you that don't know, we have about a dozen different ancillary services that our owners can offer to doctors, and they're all varying in how much money you can make on them. But typically, the work is done by one of our partners, and you're just marking up the cost. The retail rate is reduced so that you can mark it up and make money on it. But I think that personally, I think that's great that you can get your business to the point where you can be picky about what clients that you take on or not take
Sure.
on. So
Mhm.
we have some owners that are at the point where, if the doctors don't want to use all of our integrated software platform, they don't work with them at all. But there are a lot, I don't know if this is your case, but there are a lot of owners that are on multiple different systems just because doctors don't want to switch, or, they
Yeah.
don't want to learn a new EHR, or what does that look like for you? I mean, are you using?
I think it's to your benefit to select the one that you're offering because you're going to be most efficient with it. You're gonna learn the system inside and out. You're going to be able to do what you need to do quickly and efficiently without having to learn multiple platforms. And you know where everything is. So you're going to do your job best if you're using, the software that ABS is providing. But I have had clients, yes, who aren't going to change. So we work with them as well.
Yeah, so you are on multiple systems right now?
Yes, I
Yeah.
am, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes sometimes. But I tell people, people that are looking at this business, you're not you're not really trying to sell software to people. You're selling them on yourself and your team and the fact that you're going to be able to do a better job than what they're doing now,
Sure.
kind of regardless of the system, is
And
that?
I will tell you, after starting with one system, it was the most complicated thing I've ever seen. And I said, look, if you're not going to change, then we're going to have to part ways. This is just too labor intense. It was, you know what, IT people designed it, not anybody in the business of medical billing or, seeing patients. And so it was just so complicated. And I was fed up. So I wasn't going to continue if they weren't going to change.
Let me guess, was it eClinicalWorks? Works?
No,
No.
Sigmund, or I think it was Sigmund or I'm thinking that, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah. Well, that's great that you can say, you know what, if you're not going to do it the way we want to do it, then we're not going to be able to perform to our own,
Exactly.
yeah, our own standards, So
And then
if
you're not
you're
going to be happy with me and I could get a bad name and you don't know who people know, right? So,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah, like if doctors use our system, we can guarantee that they will get an average of, a reduction in, a 98% acceptance on the first claim submission. And, on average, they're going to get paid in 7 to 10 days, somewhere around there with our
mhm,
system. So typically they're going to be seeing much better results than the systems that they have. So
yeah.
what other marketing methods are you using? Are you actively? I mean, it sounds like you got a new client just recently. What other marketing methods are working for you?
So, when you're soliciting or you're looking for prospects, I'm looking at practices that are looking for medical billers. And I just reach out to them and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Would you be interested in subcontracting? You wouldn't have payroll tax, all the benefits that go with it. You don't have to worry about payroll taxes. You don't have to worry about perks that sick time. I
Yeah.
want 3 weeks vacation a year. There's no downtime if I'm out sick or whether I'm on vacation. It's always covered. So I just, my job is to see if there's an interest, if they're willing to consider, just a little shift, which everybody is doing now. So, a lot of practices that I'm using, they are, most of their clinicians are subcontracted anyway. And
Mm.
then during COVID, we found that was becoming very acceptable because people couldn't go into the office any longer. So, yeah, so I just kind of talk with them. If they're interested, great. I'll tell them the perks, the advantages to their company. by subcontracting. And if they're not interested, then, you know, no harm, no foul. Move on. But that's how I got my client in Hawaii.
So you're actively going to online classified ads and such?
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, that is one of the methods that we teach in training.
Yeah.
So a lot of doctors, you're right, they're just in the mindset of I got to keep it in-house and I got to, hire employees and stuff, and they just don't even really put two and two together that they can be a lot more efficient typically with someone outside the office focused on the billing and stuff.
Right, and I do review that with them, because if they think they're gonna have somebody sit in their office and just do billing without interruptions, picking up the phone, covering somebody else's desk while they go to lunch, then the job's not getting done. And so, you have that devoted time where you don't have interruptions working in an office. That, it takes 15, 20 minutes to get back on task anytime you're interrupted. So,
Right.
a practice is busy and people are coming and going and phones are ringing. So it is to their advantage to have one dedicated person.
Just a reminder, folks, type in some questions. We don't really have any questions yet. I guess I'm doing such a good job myself. No one has any questions yet. So let's go back now. I'm assuming you really probably don't need a ton of help from our support team these days, but let's go back to, when you first started. How involved was our support with helping you kind of onboard that new client and get that all wrapped up? How has ABS support been?
They're great. And every time I talk to a potential licensee, I will tell them like that while I'm in business for myself, I'm not by myself. So there's no way to know all of what you need to know for this business. It's always changing, changes rapidly. So anytime I have a question, anytime I'm stumped and I can't figure it out, I can call. And if you don't have the answer for me right away, you're putting me in touch with who can help me. So it's really been invaluable. And I don't think I would have been able to start this just on my own with my limited knowledge. And, unless typically people don't start businesses unless they have a background in any particular field for more than 10 years. So you can start this and know that the team is there behind you to help you along the way. And it's really been invaluable. And again, I don't know that I would have started this if it wasn't there to assist me, whether, from forms to even talking to potential clients, putting me in touch with other licensees who have a client in that field, in that discipline, and I can talk with them and get some information. So, I'm not going into a meeting blind.
How did you approach that first client as far as like your experience in the medical billing field? I mean, did it ever come up in the beginning? Did they want to know how many clients you had, or how did you kind of approach that? Because everyone has that same hurdle, when getting
Right,
that first
sure.
client of not having any clients. So how did you approach that?
So I told them I was part of a larger association of medical billers, and used I'm sorry, the organization.
Myrma?
And I remind them that we're like State Farm in a way, no one State Farm licensee is State Farm. They have many representatives all over the country, and so a similar concept. So I told them I could, get referrals if they required. Nobody really did. They just kind of asked, what's your experience? Have you had anybody in my field before? And while I'm honest with them, I don't say, I will tell them I might not have any experience in your particular discipline. However, we're all doing the same thing. You're submitting claims. You've got to know how to clean things up if there's a problem. And I have that at my fingertips. And just because I might not know, I can get that answer from the team.
Right, exactly. We do have some questions coming in now. That's great, which I'm going to start asking here in a minute. But I did want to ask before I forget, when you started this business in the beginning, did you jump right in pretty much full time, or were you running that other business and kind of having to balance that part time, or what was the deal? How much time did you spend in the beginning?
I find anytime I'm bringing on a new client, I'm pretty much working full time with them. Once I get cleaned up or get the ball rolling, then I'm backing off to, it doesn't take me very long to submit claims, to follow up, post, look at any rejections and denials and fix anything, reach out to doctors if there's a glitch, that maybe they missed. I'm not sure, you know, if they put a wrong code in there and it got kicked back, just sending quick emails. So while bringing anybody on board at first is taking, you know, is 30 to 40 hours. I'm not spending 40 hours a week, and I've got clients in New York and Honolulu and here in Albuquerque.
So do you have an idea of roughly how much time you spend on one document,
Fine.
like per day, like an hour, 2 hours, hour and a half, like
Um,
just actual claim, like claim processing work?
um, you know, if I'm maybe an hour, I tend to do my billing at night after the day. I want my claims submitted the day they've seen their patients. So if their notes are done and signed, I'll get on, you know, after dinner and everybody's quiet in the house, and I'll maybe spend an hour or two just for my clients submitting clean claims.
Okay. And the question I asked a minute ago, I was actually kind of referring to like before you had any clients at all, were you marketing full time, part
No.
time? How long did it take you to get that first client? Was it a couple of months, 6 months, 3?
I would say once that, you know, again, I had put this on the back burner for a little bit, but once we started, I would say 3 months. Um, before I got that. And within 6 months, I've recovered my initial investment.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's real
My
good.
husband was happy because I borrowed the money from him. So, well,
You had to pay him back, huh?
I didn't have to, but you know, it went
Hopefully
back
not.
in the
Hopefully
pot.
the interest rates were good on that loan there. Cool. Well, I do have some questions coming in here. Let's see. This is actually kind of where I was going next. RD is asking, how big is your business? Have you scaled up or a one-woman show?
So originally my one daughter was joining and she had a baby. So now she's on board. She'll submit clean claims for me. And my other daughter, she also joined, although she just had a baby, and so she's out of the loop for a little bit. My daughter-in-law is currently, she actually went to school for coding, so she's finishing up and wants to join the team. So while the girls are supplementing their husband's incomes by working for me, they only submit clean claims. So I might sign them one clinician and they'll do their claims. So they can make some money on the side, but for the most part, it's me. I don't, and outside, and they're subcontractors as well. So they've all started LLCs so that they have their own tax write-offs and whatnot. So so they're subcontractors, they're not employees.
So it's all nepotism, just straight.
Yeah, at the best, right?
I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I guess you would be.
That's cool. I mean, that's a lot of people do that. They end up just hiring friends and family and keep it kind of small, and everybody works from home. And, it's a cloud-based, most of the systems are cloud-based. So pretty easy to manage people, even if they're not coming, to an office or anything.
Right.
Right.
And if
So
they're slipping, I could just say, hey, get to work, or slow down, go spend some time with the baby. So
do you have an office, or is everybody working from home, or?
everybody's working from home.
Okay, so no one comes to your house or anything. Everyone just works at their own.
Occasionally, if I'm having, I will tell you the hardest part of my job is sometimes getting like my Google Docs working, or, emails connected to their emails. Just technology. They're all younger than me. And so they'll come over and just help me sometimes. But no, for the most part, everybody's working from home.
I gotcha. Let's see. Liz is asking, does a background in accounting give you a lead in the learning curve in medical billing? Also, is the training accredited? Thank you. Do you have any comments on
For accounting, no. I mean, I'm always looking at the bottom line of the practice. I'm looking out for their well-being, the health of the practice. So if I'm seeing claims coming in that are constantly denying, I'm not looking at all their financials though. I'm not saying, okay, so I see this is coming in and I don't see what's going out as far as their bills. So my accounting background doesn't help me help them at all. So no, I wouldn't say that. It just helps me as far as, looking at their bottom line and where their claims are at, and they're aging, and saying, hey, this is kind of off. And especially as you're bringing on new clients, and while they might have talked a good talk and given you a feeling that they know where their practice is at. Once you get into it and you see where they're at, I'm like shaking my head many times, like, wow, you guys are not doing as well as you should be. I hope you have a line of credit. Let's get this fixed.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. And yeah. So, having skills in accounting is helpful, but certainly not necessary.
no,
Um,
no. And
being able to, what's
I,
that?
I will tell you too, when I first started looking into ABS, that was when the market took a hit in 2008. I think that's when I started looking. And I just could not invest at the time. So while I waited for that, I did go back to school for billing and coding. So I am a certified biller and coder. And I will tell you, you don't need to be a certified biller or coder to do this job either. I
So
mean,
you just went that back to do that because you just wanted to just.
well, while I was waiting for things to pick up and the funds to become available, I just continued. I did that.
Oh, you're saying you did this before you bought ABS invest.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people do that. We actually get calls from a lot of people that they're like, hey, I went through all this billing and coding training. I've got all these certifications and I have no clue how to market myself. I have no clue how to get clients. That's where we come in.
Yeah,
So doing that is helpful, but it certainly, I would say it probably extends the time it takes to start generating revenue. I mean, you can skip
exactly.
the school, go through our training and get a client, 3 or 4 months and you're off to the races.
Right.
All right, let's see. Carl is asking, what was your startup cost? I mean, your investment for our business, our investment has gone up to 30,000. That's our one-time investment now. I'm sure you paid quite a bit less than that. Do you have an idea on like what your kind of like ongoing operational costs? You don't have to getting specific numbers, but like what should someone plan on spending for a year of like marketing and operational costs? Do you have any feel for that at all?
It's very limited because everything is so affordable now. What your web page, your server, whoever is your I'm trying to think of who I go through and I can't remember. You have your online presence through your your page and your phone. I do have my own phone. Uh I'm sorry, I can't even think of who it is. I should have pulled this stuff up.
Your
Um,
like your virtual 800 number or whatever?
Yes, exactly. I have one for on the mainland and one for Hawaii because that was really my target too. So, and I don't need both numbers. I can get rid of one. I have an e-fax service, and everything each month is if it's $100 a month, that's a lot. I couldn't even give you an exact at this point, but my if I had employees, it would, this is a labor job where your time is your biggest expense. If I had employees, that would be my biggest line item as far as what I'm paying every month. But it's so minimal. And then I have a CPA who does my books at the end of the year, and certifies everything and sends it off to the government and voila, I'm done. And so my profit margin is healthy.
That's great. That's great. Um, let's see. I was going to ask a question. Let me look at some questions here that are coming in. Yeah, Robert saying, do you recommend joining medical billing courses? I think we answered that one.
No.
Uh, did you earn a specific degree or professional license before starting? I think we answered that one. You did go through billing and coding training just because you were waiting to invest in this business and
Mhm.
you just wanted to, but it's not necessary. Let's see. I don't understand that question. I have no experience at all. How does this work for me? Is there a learning curve? Do I need to be certified to do this? Carl, like I've mentioned in the beginning, we do certify you as a CMRM, and that's really all that you need to be able to do this. You can certainly go get some additional training like Margaret did, but it's not necessary at all. And we help you out a lot every step of the way with the marketing. And I've got several people here asking, well, what's the deal with getting clients? Does ABS help owners get clients? Do we have to find our own clients? Do you have a comment to that? Like how
Yeah, nobody provides clients, whether you're doing this or my analogy before, State Farm. They're not providing you client. Well, I don't think they provide you clients. No, it's your company. It's your responsibility to get your own clientele. So, yeah.
But how involved, I mean, doctors aren't going to want to work with somebody that they don't know, like, and trust. And so, right? I mean, so were you using all of the steps that we assist with as far as helping you with the practice analysis? We do software demos for you, proposals, agreements. Did you lean on support for any of that process?
Definitely the analysis really learning the questions that you're asking your clientele, the potential client. If you start reading through that, and I remember us doing a training in class with, your partner next to you. And so at first where you might not, you're just kind of reading the question, you're not maybe understanding what you're asking. So whether you understand it or not, the doctor's going to know you know what you're talking about, because he knows those questions, or the practice manager, who's ever, if you're asking questions about their CMS, I mean, how many Medicare, how many Medicaid claims, how many visits are they seeing? What is their denial rate? What is their rejection rate? Are they having problems or getting kickback codes that are no longer billable? Those questions in that analysis, they start to realize you know what you're talking about. So it's important. That was an invaluable tool for me. Understanding the questions that we were asking, why we're asking them. And yeah, that was probably the best tool. So when it relieves the stress of meeting with the potential client for the first time, not knowing what you're going to ask them. You have to look knowledgeable. And so I would make, studying that questionnaire and understanding what you're asking and why you're asking it.
Yeah. So just to clarify for everybody, we have a whole, like, doctors don't want to work with people that they don't trust and know. And so we teach to focus very heavily on business networking. We have about a dozen different marketing methods that we teach you to do that are not related to cold calling, cold calling and, what we call direct contact. That's at the very bottom of the list pretty much. So we have marketing methods everywhere from warm marketing, business networking, online classifieds like Margaret used, direct contact, direct mail, educational events, marketing with books, marketing with sales reps, trade shows, expos, lunch and learn seminars. I mean, these are all things that we've kind of been perfecting throughout the years that are having a really good response rate. And so the goal is for you as the owner of this business to be using these methods to get referrals and get leads from folks in other industries a lot of times that work with doctors. And all you have to do is get a referral, and then we have an entire process that we help you with to get the doctors excited about working with you. So it starts with that practice analysis that Margaret mentioned, and we show you how to do that, and it analyzes their practice, shows them where their problems are. Then you can set up a demo with our demo team. We'll do a full demo of our platforms for you. We help you put together your proposals with your pricing, your agreements. So we're there every step of the way to get them to sign with you. So it is very much a team effort in getting them signed up. But you, as the owner of your business, need to be highly involved in all of those steps, because they need to know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, because you are the owner of the business, if that makes sense. So it's a whole process that we've laid out for people. And if you follow those steps, you can be successful, like Margaret.
And all those services that you provide would cost somebody starting a business quite a bit of money every month. And so the fact that they're there and at your disposal, helps you be profitable so much faster. And once you realize, find one that works for you, you're probably going to stick with that one thing that you did to get the first one and just start perfecting it, more. And that's my go-to. I kind of stick with the same thing. Although I probably, part of my problem right now is I don't know that I want to bring any more business on. Because I really don't want to work 40 hours a week. And I could bring, I guess everybody's going to decide how big they want to get. I don't want to get really any bigger than I am right now. So we've had 8 grandchildren in the last 5 years, and I want to, really.
Oh my, wow.
So we really want to spend some time.
That's a full house.
It is. Well, 5 years ago, I asked if I was going to die before I was a grandmother, and they all got busy.
Oh my goodness. Wow. My dad says that he wished that he could just skip to grandkids. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm a little bit offended by that, but I gave him 3, so that's good enough. A couple of people are asking about the investment. Okay, so The investment to join ABS is a one-time investment that does have to be paid up front before you start. It's $30,000. So, get back with your ABS rep that invited you to this webinar if you want to talk about maybe some different funding options, but that's what it is. So hopefully that answers that for you guys. RD is asking, how many demos of the system and software are you doing for prospective clients in a week or a month? Are you still actively marketing your business and services? Are you setting up any demos for doctors or?
No, no, I'm not. And I'm very selective of who I'm going after at this point. Like I said, I did want to establish in Hawaii because I am there every year. And the goal really was, were we going to retire there? But which probably isn't going to happen because we have so many grandchildren now here. But I was there in October for a month. I was just there 2 weeks ago for 2 weeks. So, I'm happy I can go back and forth as often as I want. And I've got my computer with me, and the time zone difference. Like I said, if I just get up a little early and I'm done for the day, but before everybody else is getting up to go do things, go to the beach, go do activities. So I'm happy. So I don't know that I want to get any bigger, and I'd be very selective of who I was marketing to.
Yeah, so let's clarify that. You don't really want to grow, you don't want to hire any more employees because you just don't really feel like managing that many people, which is perfectly fine. We have a lot of people that are in that same, they get to a certain level and they're like, I'm good. I don't want to take up any more of my time. I want to have more free time and everything, they're able to manage it really well. So someone was asking, how many clients do you actually have right now?
I've got so if you're talking individual clinicians, I have 21 in New York. I've got now 18 in Hawaii, and I've got 4 practices here in Albuquerque.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm bad at math. How many is that total?
41, 40, about 45.
41 individual providers.
Yeah.
Wow. And you and 2 other people are managing it?
Yes. Well, one kind of just bowed out because she just had a baby, so she's off for now. My daughter Danielle, and shortly my daughter-in-law, we call her Boots. She'll be joining the team.
My goodness. Wow. That sounds like I'm surprised that you guys are able to handle that number of doctors. That's crazy. That's a lot.
Well, once you get them where you need them to be, especially if I've had to do some training with the front desks at different practices to say, hey, your team needs to be doing this so that we are only submitting clean claims and I'm not doing a lot of follow-up work. So yeah, it doesn't take long to submit a claim as long as it's clean, as long as the front desk has done their job well.
Some of the doctors are lower volume maybe, or part-time or anything like that.
Well, yeah, so I would say, well, so then I also have some of them are junior clinicians where they're not fully licensed, and so we have rendering and supervising. And that's just something you'll learn along the way until they're fully licensed, but they can start seeing patients at a certain point. So yeah, not everybody's actually full-time.
Right, right. I do have a question from Anonymous. I don't know how they're able to be anonymous, but how long did it take to get your first income from your first client when you started business with them? Were you invoicing them like?
Takes a month.
I was going to say like about a month after they sign the contracts and you start processing everything.
Yeah.
So are you typically invoicing your doctors once a month?
So I was doing one at one point once a month, but at one point, one of the clients was just so big that it just seemed easier to do every 2 weeks for them. Then they weren't getting this huge bill. So one I do twice a month, and the others once a month. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that before. I've heard some people say, I didn't want to give the doctors a heart attack, so I split up the invoice, do it twice a month. Yeah. Are most of them just clicking to pay online through QuickBooks or something, or
Direct deposit.
what's that?
The direct deposit.
So tell me about that. So that are they how does that work?
I submit an invoice to them, and they have my routing information. They just transfer funds right into my electronic fund transmission, right into my
Someone
bank.
on their end is getting the invoice and they're just saying, yep, pay. Just
Right.
click the button and done.
I only have one client where I'm picking up a physical check.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you if any doctors were still old school and trying to send
And
paper.
you know what? And she's older.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I get it. Sometimes you still have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Initial startup. They're just asking the same kind of questions about not having medical experience. You don't need medical experience. Gowery is asking, can I know the training period, how many months it takes? So your training was done online, right? Or was
No,
your,
mine was in person for
oh,
1 week.
that was right before we went all online. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I wondered, did COVID have a part in that?
You know what? Before COVID existed, we decided to try virtual training.
Hmm.
And so we went virtual and then COVID hit. And it was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness we did that. So we
Uh-huh.
had already had everything set up for online, and
Wow.
it's been going really, really, really well ever since. So the
That's
training is
great.
done online. Yeah, to answer your question, Gallery, the training is 10 90-minute modules now. And so it's about 15 hours total, and that'll take you maybe 2 or 3 weeks to finish, but it's done online, privately with one of our instructors. So we work around your schedule to get it done. So it's pretty cool.
And that's nice too, because people have lives, they have children, and it's hard to go away for a week. Especially if
Yeah.
you're younger and you have children under feet and having to work everything out. So that's
Yes, I do understand some people they want to go on vacation and go to Texas and pay for this hotel and do all this training and stuff in person. I get it, but it's
I did
very
enjoy it.
yeah, it's very lean and mean now, and we get you trained and on your way very, very quickly. So it's just it just works a lot better, and it's COVID pandemic friendly too. So
Yeah.
same goes for our offices. We used to have a big office here in Keller, Texas, and a couple of people left the company, so we were like, why are we paying all this rent? So let's just try working from home. And so we're all virtual now. Tim, our head of support, is in Alabama. He works from home. Our head of training is, Cynthia in Arizona. So we've got support people all over the country working
Right.
virtually. It's pretty cool.
And it is cool because at the end of the year, I'm like, oh man, do I have any more deductions? And I don't, because I don't have all this overhead that I can, you know, I don't know. I like it that way. Like the profit margin is great when you
Yeah.
don't have all those extra,
Yep.
you know.
Exactly right. Gowery is asking, can we have partners or workers from offshore other than US? Actually, the system is cloud-based, like I just mentioned. So we do have owners that actually have some of their work done subcontracted with overseas labor. We also have a partner that can provide full-time subcontract work for you as you grow your business. So we make growth very, very easy. So yes, you can do that. Oh, why don't you answer this one? Jerry is asking, what percentage of your annual income goes toward franchise fees?
Nothing. It's a one-time shot. There's no fees. That's what makes it so much sweeter than franchising. If you're looking to go into business and there's all these franchises that you can become part of, from Dunkin' Donuts to Jiffy Lube to whatever. There's no ongoing, and you're not told how to do your business. With those, you're required to do. Not only is there a franchise fee, but you have to have uniforms or whatever, building your building to uh specifics that they have for their brand. No one's telling you what to do or how to do it or when to do it, and it's just a one-time shot.
Yep, that's right. And Jerry, you may be asking, hopefully you're asking yourself, well, how the heck does ABS make any money then? Well, we make money. When Margaret does put some of her clients onto our software platforms that we promote, we get a small residual back from those software partners for her doing that. So we are very committed to helping you with marketing your business and getting clients for that reason. We do have a vested interest. So we really want them to be on our software systems. We know we can't get them all on there, but we want them on there as much as we can. Okay. Do we take an exam after the training? No, actually, you just finish all the training modules, and there's not like a pass or fail exam. you're certified. It's a done deal. So there you go. RD is asking, well, we already addressed that. Do all of your doctors use the ABS software system? No, they don't. She's using multiple systems. A lot of doctors don't want to learn a new medical record system, and so we can work around that. You'll have clients that are using all of our bells and whistles. You'll have clients that are using like hybrid versions where we've integrated our iClaim platform into their medical record platform. And sometimes you'll just have clients where you're using all of their, billing practice management stuff and still able to do a better job than what they're doing now, like Margaret said. So Brian's asking, I've heard a couple times cold calling isn't the best way. Coming from medical device sales background, cold calling is what I know. Is this a viable way? I have comments on that. Do you have any comments on that?
I think it's because you never know what practice you're going to walk into who the doctor is drowning and his practice manager or his biller isn't, or he might not even know it. And so just to offer analysis to see, let's look at the health of your practice. He might not even know where he's at. He doesn't even know claims are being denied and they're just getting swept under the carpet and then they're missing timely filing or, to resubmit. So if you could, the only problem about cold calling is actually trying to get to the actual decision maker.
Yes.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts? I think if you have the time, do it.
My thoughts are the average person is terrified of cold calling. And so that's why we have all these other very non-aggressive methods. But Brian, if you are skilled in cold calling and you are good at it, absolutely. We have scripts for you. And if we're talking about cold calling on offices in person, we call it direct contact. We actually have a specific set of materials, ways to present these materials to get them into the hands of the doctors and around the gatekeepers. So we get very specific on that kind of stuff. So if you're good at it, you're comfortable with it, absolutely. We have had owners that have had success doing that. So,
and while people might be afraid to do that, they're used to people coming in their office all the time.
They are
pharmaceutical sales.
They are. So you really have to be able to present yourself in a different way and say things in a different way. And we have training for that. We can teach you. But it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you're definitely going to hear a bunch of no's before you hear a yes, but it has worked in the past for some. Okay, let's see. Did you have a regular job while trying to start this business? Well, I think we talked about that. You had your accounting business and that was still going, but you were able to kind of get this thing going.
Even though I have an education in accounting, when we moved to the mainland from Hawaii, we started our own company, my husband's business, what he's good at, and I did the books for that. And to the point where we were having baby number 5 and I was losing my mind. So I stepped out of the company for some time and then joined back in. And then, if you work with your husband all the time, it's, it's like embezzling from yourself. I like getting a paycheck from somebody else, knowing that I worked for this and I'm contributing in my own way. And, so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think the questions are slowing down here. Now, I'm not going to ask you any, revenue income questions or anything like that. But I mean, could you give us maybe just a real big ballpark on like how much you might be billing on behalf of the doctors? Like, do you have a rough idea? I know you've got a lot of clients, so that may be a hard number to come up with.
I'm billing 7% of their revenue.
All of your clients across the board?
Yes. So whether it's an insurance payment or a copay, what patient responsibility is 7% of everything. So whatever, depending on how many clients they're seeing, what kind of discipline, medical practice it is. And one of the things to think about too is I live in New Mexico. My clients in New York are making more than my doctors here in New Mexico. So depending on where your clientele is. So if you want to make really big bucks, go for cardiologists or neurologists that are in Chicago, New York, California. Those are going to be your biggest claims.
And that's the beauty of this because there's no territories, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got some of these clients through referrals from existing clients?
My ones here, yes. But then, and then once you get working with one practice, they're more than happy to provide you reference letters. And so that's part of my portfolio now. I've got a few letters in there that are submitted with what I can do for them when I'm presenting my proposal to my client.
Yeah, so you're putting, do you put together a folder with
Mhm. Yeah, we have them. I mean, that was part of my that I got with my training. I'm not sure if you're still doing that.
do? Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you giving them the results of the analysis, like the revenue report?
If I've done that, if I'm actually, which with my first one, yes. This last
But
one, I
yeah,
did.
some of them, they don't even care if they have that or not. They just want to do business, right?
Right. And I think at this point I have enough knowledge to, I mean, I'm talking to, they know I know what I'm talking about. Because I'm asking them questions that I see them like shrugging their shoulders and they're, they don't want to answer the question because they know it's not a good answer to say, yeah, I have no idea how far behind my claims are, or, I've missed timely filings, or, so I'm asking them questions or presenting suggestions to them also that's going to help their practices. So like, just for instance, just this Hawaii client, they're turning away, if they're not in network with a particular client's insurance, they're turning them away instead of finding out if the client has a PPO account so that they can bill out of network and still probably make more on a claim than they would have if they were in network. So they were super happy to, just even with that small little suggestion, and I was offered the next day. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to know a whole lot more than them about it to be impressive, really, you know? Yeah, that's cool. So hypothetically, if you had one, let's say one general practice family doctor and you were charging 7%, what kind of revenues do you think someone would make on one family doctor at 7%? Do you have a good feel for that?
Uh, well, and again, it depends on, well, I'll just use my first one. They were billing $100,000 a month. So there you go.
So there you go.
Do the math.
7%.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, hopefully that helps, Eric. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple more that just came in here. We're almost done here. I'm going to let you go. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Nope, not going to ask that one. Is there someone available when needing help on the software? Is it immediate or a long wait? So we talked a little bit about support, Robert. Our team is available during normal business hours, and we can do after hours as well. In addition to that, that's like level one support, but we also have you have direct access to help desk to our software partners, and they have a 24/7 help desk that you can contact if you have technical questions about the software. So we can absolutely get you answers to solve your issues very, very rapidly in some form or another. So okay, well, that's about it. That's all the questions we had coming in. We're almost at the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Margaret, for joining me on here today. That hour went by pretty quick.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
So yeah, thank you for being on. And you did mention that you have talked with prospective ABS business owners, and you're open to chatting with folks maybe
Absolutely.
on the webinar that want to chat
Yeah.
with you.
I would say I probably get 3 calls a month asking if I could spare some time
Oh,
and
okay,
answer their questions, and
great.
yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so much. You're welcome to go ahead and hit the road, and I'll let you get back to
Okay.
it. And
Take care. Thank you. Good luck,
yeah,
everyone.
thanks for being on here, Margaret.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Everybody, I just want to tell you about our 30-day money back guarantee. If you haven't ever been on any of these webinars, we talk about our 30-day guarantee. Not much is guaranteed in life, but we do allow you a 30-day guarantee that lets you basically go through our entire training program and all the 10 modules that I mentioned, the whole thing, all the way through to the certification. And if there's anything that just doesn't make sense to you and you don't feel like you're going to be able to make the business work, we will give you your money back. We have a 30-day guarantee that will give you 100% of your money back if you don't feel like this business is right for you. What usually happens is people are way more excited because they didn't realize all the different potential with the different services that we have. So that's usually what happens. But we do have that in writing in our agreement. So there's a couple of steps here. You want to go through our research guide. We have a 60-page PDF document that you can go through. It goes into a lot of more detail than we went into today on the business and how it works. You're going to want to check out our YouTube channel. We've been doing this for 30 years. We have hundreds of interviews and testimonials with successful folks all over the country. Let's see, you're going to want to, the next step is talk to some actual business owners. And like I mentioned, Margaret herself said she'd be happy to chat with you. So get back with your ABS rep and we can provide a reference list at some point in the process. We've got people all over the country that are happy to chat with you about the business and so you can see if it might be a right fit for you or not. We also do live demos of the software that I've been mentioning. We can walk you through kind of a day in the life of a business owner and how it looks like using the system that we have. We do that over a Zoom. Then the final couple of steps are we can send you the purchase agreement to review that. It's not a franchise agreement. I know that we are promoting as a franchise, but it's actually a business opportunity. So you're signing a very simple 5-page training and support agreement is what it is. So it's nothing like a franchise agreement where there's like 500 pages. It's very easy to read and understand. And then lastly, just get with your rep about funding and how you're going to be doing the funding and when you would like to start your training. We can usually start your training the same week that you fill out the agreement and do the funding and sign the agreement. We can start your training very, very quickly. So thank you very much. If you guys have any additional questions, let's see, you can contact this number here, 866. If you don't know who your ABS rep is, you can call 866-565-8413. And I did have some questions coming in. Where did they go? Let's see if we have any more. Yeah, Robert, we can do a live demo like I just mentioned, and everyone is just saying thank you for doing the webinar. So, all right, everybody, appreciate your time. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next week if you want to join us for another webinar. All right, bye, folks.